Do a little install, and voila, there you got our little button. So let's see how this works. Why don't we go over to YouTube? So this is one of my favorite bands, Evangelista. This is a great way for me to help them kind of keep going. So we'll go ahead and click the button and see what happens. Where's the button? There we go. A little overlay shows up. And you can change the tip from anywhere from 10 cents to $20. All of your tips are anonymous, so you don't have to worry about anyone sending you emails or advertising track. We take care of finding and paying the author. Go ahead and hit save. So that was sort of us playing with it. Why don't we go over to Tumblr, and we'll tip another site. And we'll just click the button and see how it works all by itself. Tip comes up, hangs out for a few seconds, and then it goes away. So we think this is really powerful for the Creative Commons. And if we go over to Pretty Penny Records, this album was self-published and released to the Commons, and the way he's planning on getting revenue for it is by the little button badge at the bottom right-hand corner. If we go down and click that, we'll tip his site. Now, seeing as how we've tipped over $10, down will drop down a little credit card form, fill it out. You can choose to have this show up every time, or have it bill you automatically. We charge a 10% fee for the service, and there you go. That's it. So if you're an artist and you'd like to help spread the word about the service, you can go over to our site, click the authors button. La, la, la. And we built a little tool that you can then just pick the badge that you want, size it up, copy that into any page that you'd want, and then you can help see any content that you have get paid on the web. So it's tip any URL on the web, use it as much or as little as you want. All the tips are anonymous. And that's it. I got to read this. We're raising a seed round, and we'd love to talk to anybody if you're interested. But what we really want to do is if you could go to copper.is, install the button, and start showing people your appreciation. Thanks.
Awesome. Well done. Guys, what do we think of Copper?
How did you guys do the YouTube integration? So did that band member have to sign up, or how are you going to pay people? What happens if someone clicks on Copper also if that person isn't a member of the website? What happens then?
So that's the magic of OpenID. Is if they can log into our account and authorize all of, SoundCloud has OpenID, GitHub has OpenID. If they log in with those accounts, anybody who tips where their account is will automatically see their money in their account.
How do you get distribution?
It's you, buddy.
Primarily through partnerships. We have a couple right now with top 10 properties that they feel as though the value that we can offer to their users complements advertising.
Yeah, it's a tough sell. I mean, like, use case is there, but distribution and a web browser added is like not easy. And there are many, many other companies who have gone after that. So try and find a broad channel for distribution.
Sure. How many people think they would try something like this? I'm just curious. Raise your hand high if you would try it. Okay. That looks like about 15, 20% of a tech-savvy audience. That's pretty good. So, more questions?
Yeah, how do you handle authentication, certification of the URL in terms of risk management of who owns that underlying property?
What we're going to do is there's a HTML5 attribute in the link tag called author, and that's supposed to point to whoever actually authored the page, and we're going to use that as our validation, much like Google has you when they're sort of validating your website for Google Apps. Yeah. Similar.
So does the bookmarklet only light up when someone has a Copper account that you can tip to them?
No, you can tip any URL on the web. It's our job to go out and find them and tell them that they have money.
Okay, that's the part that I still don't understand. So the workflow would be like, I go to a YouTube page where I see a video that I really like. I click that button, I enter a tip amount. Then what you guys do is you go to that URL, see who the account owner is, and then you guys can look that up and email them. And I'm picturing this email coming in like, hey, you just got $10 on Copper, and I'm thinking, oh, that seems sketch to me. Is that, until I know your brand at least.
Right. So part of that's getting our brand out, right? Getting that acknowledgement. Yeah, basically contacting them that way, telling there's other sources. Some of it's going to be fairly manual.
So what ends up happening if they don't respond?
Oh, we return the money back to the customer.
So
it's there for a period of time. If we can't get them to buy into it, then you get your money back.
It seems like that would be a pretty viral process. If you gave 1,000 YouTube users $1 tip each, the YouTube community would figure out what copper was pretty quick,
Yeah,
right?
I mean, if people start getting paid and they're going to tell people they got paid for nothing, we imagine that GitHub open source accounts, it could be really big over there initially with the development community, because this is a way for people who do their development and hand it out for everyone, but yet still have some revenue.
Yeah, I mean, it only takes one of those communities to work in order for it to actually become viral. I mean, Dave, would you agree with that? If it works for GitHub, that it could spread? Well, I mean, how did PayPal spread? You were there. How did it spread?
Was already operating in a very active eBay marketplace, and also we were paying people $5 to $10 to adopt, or at least promising that, whether we paid them or not.
And so you were involved in criminal activity. Fraud. No.
I was not doing that part of the business.
So would you say that if they put $3 in everybody's account and let them go tip it, that would create a viral loop maybe? And GitHub sounds like the eBay of PayPal.
If ultimately your customer acquisition is worth more than $3, then you should be able to spend $3 to acquire those customers. You need to have the capital to do that.
More questions from our panel?
As a tipper, what's the process for signing up? Do I enter my credit card number or?
Yeah, after you tip $10, you get a little drop down that says, hey, put in your credit card information. Click
But the
pay now.
first $10 you guys are
First
covering?
$10 is just you getting used to the service, making kind of a lower barrier to entry.
Right. But you guys are covering the $10 or I
No,
owe
you
you $10?
basically pay for the tips you've already done, and we sort of hold the rest, your tips until next period are just sort of there waiting for you to pay them off.
So if a bunch of people tip $9, then you guys are on the hook for?
Yeah, we're not going to pay that money out until somebody puts their credit card in.
Okay.
Do you let the person know who got the $9 before you get the $9 that there's been a tip, or only until the authentication of the credit card?
We're going to wait for multiple sources to give them money, and then once it looks like there's 3 or 4 people that have tipped the site, then that's when we'll notify them.
Great. Awesome. Let's hear it for Copper. Well done.